What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Lone Duck's Gundog Chronicles. As you see, we've got Freddy King here, the man, the myth, the legend, the duck-killing machine. Welcome back, Freddy. It's been a while since we've had you on the show.
Oh, it has been a minute. Well, we've tried 2 or 3 times to get together, and you know how it is. Schedules, man. It's just everybody's got life, you know. It's the same circle. Everybody's making the same circle. It just gets faster and faster and faster.
So we can't get off the wheel. Can't get off the hamster wheel. It's hunt tests and hunting season. I mean, we're full throttle, and I know you are too.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So, Freddie, we've been doing the dog of a lifetime. Our Patreon members, our listeners have sent in stories of the dogs that got them into the game. And I'm going to read one, and then we want to hear about your dog of a lifetime.
All right.
So this one came in from Elena. Elena's a good friend, Patreon member, and got a puppy from us a couple of years ago now. They got to be 3. So Elena writes, at this point, I couldn't imagine a life without Ren. It's 2020, and I'm fresh out of college, ready to, holy cow, 2020. That makes me feel real old. I'm fresh out of college, ready to start my career as a welder at a shop in my hometown. Although I never grew up with dogs, I always dreamed of having one to explore the woods beyond deer season. So when my grandpa put me onto a litter of hunting labs, like any uneducated dog owner, I put down a deposit the same day and didn't blink an eye when the breeder handed him over at 5.5 weeks, which is 2+ weeks early. I was dead set to teach him everything I could with the goal of a master title. Little did I know how much he would teach me instead. Describing Ren as impactful would be an understatement. His influence isn't defined by any memorable hunts or titles, but by the transformative path he set me on. He taught me patience, resilience, and when to pivot or compromise when needed. Ren has been called many things: sweet, quirky, spirited, but never a hunter. We brought him home just before the 4th of July, and I suspect that's what set the stage for our challenges. Unaware of the brewing issues, we continued training and made significant progress. By the time he was 1.5 years old, he had a solid on and off leash obedience and was efficiently hunting sheds. Yet I knew I had to gun break him soon, so I took on a part-time job at a kennel to learn how. I quickly realized I couldn't teach him alone, leading me to enroll in a program. That's when we confronted our biggest hurdle. He was gun shy, and it was bad. I left my welding job to dedicate myself fully to being an obedience trainer at the kennel. It was initially daunting, but I needed to invest all my energy into his development. We have worked tirelessly over the past 3 years to overcome his fears. Last summer, he ran his first junior test with no signs of gun sensitivity. No ribbons, but I was still over the moon that he made it that far. Over the last 4 tests we entered, it was pretty clear this may not be his game. He always would fall back on hunting the field, even if the flyer was an easy mark. Homeboy wants to quarter. We can work with that. We trained intensively for upland this spring. Now he's a chucker finding machine, to the point where if I take him on a walk around the kennel property, there's a good chance he'll bring me any of the birds my coworkers lost in the slough. Planning to see if he's got the chops to run the BDC, I would say Bird Dog Challenge would be my guess, next spring, but more ecstatic to see that his first pheasant season goes this fall. Alongside this journey, I had the privilege of helping over 200 dogs become their best selves, researching my next pup, Ryder, and learned what not to do with a bucking bronco. I've also met incredible people in the sport. None of this would have been possible if that little yellow butterball hadn't rolled into my life. He might not be perfectly trained, but through him, I've learned the true meaning of the unspoken bond and couldn't be more grateful. Whether we're chasing ribbons, racks, or ringnecks, I'm excited to see what the next chapter of our story holds. That's awesome, Elena. Thank you for writing that in, and what a good dog. So I'm excited for her upcoming pheasant season too. It sounds like he's off to a good start.
It does. Sounds like a great start.
Yeah, ready to rock and roll.
Noticing the change. Hey, I need to change which direction his pup is going and fulfill it, to the pup's maximum ability. So they're going to have more than likely a pretty good life together, chasing pheasants and grouse and who knows what else. It's a quartering game.
Heck yeah, absolutely. Freddie, you've been doing this for many, many years, and I'm sure you've had many, many dogs in your life that have been special. But does one ring a bell when we talk about a dog of a lifetime?
Well, of course, yeah. One day, and I hate to judge them like that. I've had so many die, and I mean, I've had so many come through. Started with Ike, and then of course there was Casey, and then everybody knows Teal. Then of course after that, everybody can remember Rusty Creasy hollering Buck, and then it's just one thing after another. Then there's Thief, and then Asia and Teat now, and, three Master National Hall of Fame dogs living in my house. And then Asia, she died this past spring, and Thief followed her right about 2 months. He died. But, it's tough. But I always learn to get another one, and I hate to judge them. What's the dog of a lifetime? But, they all have a freaking huge spot in my heart. I can still remember Teal's last retrieve on the Cache River, and this is 12 years ago. And Ike, I can still remember the lessons he taught me as the very first, let's say, gun dog, when I didn't really know anything was coming along, and all the lessons he taught me that made me a better trainer, all the way to Teal, or Buck, and all the way to Teat now. That's, my oldest living pup. They all have that special place and that special thing that we've shared, we've done, the lessons they've taught me. And it's more about that really than anything, the lessons they've taught me. But of course, Thief, I mean, he's the man, he's definitely a dog that, probably hurt more than anybody when he went. So, and he was that dog. You could put him in, anybody could walk up to the line and at an HRCH test, and I could say, here, run this dog. And boom, boom, boom. They could walk. I don't care if it was the Grand. Anybody could put that dog beside him. Boom, 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 boom. He's not going to creep. He's not going to move. He's going to sit there. He's going to run for you. When you hit the whistle, that dog, very few dogs you'll ever see, when you blow the whistle, that just spin, and they stop so hard that they just make the water just toosh, blow straight away from them. And he did that every time. And when you cast him, he was the same way. Boosh, he'd just take off again. And it's all about those kind of memories and stuff, but just his character, the way he interacted with people, and you never know if he's in the back there and you got in, we took off somewhere, unless I told you was back there, you'd never even know it was. I mean, that's just the way he was. He was extremely chilled in the house. Boom. But I mean, Thief, he is that dog. He is. I hate to say that because all of them have been so dang special. So,
yeah. Do you have a memorable hunt with Thief?
Oh yeah, his first dang freaking duck hunt. I mean, everybody knows Echo calls, and here I am. I've got this 12 months. We passed our last finished test, bloom in the fall, got his HRCH, and then of course here comes duck season, and and this is a young dog for get his HRCH, and we've done everything. We've loaded duck calls, we've had the duck, the decoys, every single thing, and this dog's already got 3 master passes at this time too. So we get out there, and the first duck hunting with the Echo boys, of course, I'm filming all that kind of mess. Man, first big old group of mice. And we're on public. And it's on film. Everything's on film. I've let it all roll. And this is on public, hunting with another group of guys that said, hey, y'all come and hunt with us. Let's don't combat each other. This big old group of mouters come in, boy, we lay into them. Freaking ducks everywhere falling. Thief is like taking it in, and I cast him. He runs out there and grabbed the biggest pumper duck you can find right there and grabs that pumper duck and about 3 other decoys all the way back up to the bank. And I'm like, good grief, here's an HRCH freaking dog. It's banging on the masters. and picking up daggum decoys. All right.
Yeah.
So, and of course, that's going to always, because I mean, that was the big thing. We talked about, and we do it. We religiously talk. Y'all talk to your clients and stuff. You got to do this, got to do that, got to do this, got to train with this, got to train with that. And I've done everything, of course. I'm done everything. And here's my dog doing exactly what I preached to everybody. So, and that's going to go on for, I'm going to remember that forever. And so were the guys hunting me, because matter of fact, the other day I made a post and a guy said, I remember when he did it. And then, yeah, he did. So
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So
I remember taking my young one out. She had her master title, but it was her first hunt. And it was me and two other buds in my boat. And we knocked down a Drake mallard. First shot, single shot, bow, belly up, orange feet kicking with a band on it. It didn't land. Man. It didn't land 10 feet from the boat. She jumped in the water, spun a circle, and looked at me like, what do you want me to do? I'm like, back? 5 more feet? Baby. 5 more feet, please? And then she swam past it and is in the decoys dinking around. And it's going, I'm like, you can't make this up, dude. Your first duck is banded and you didn't even get it.
No, man.
Like, oh, this thing sucks. But, shoot, after 2 or 3 birds, she was game on after that. But it's hilarious. That's a hilarious story of Thief. That's great.
Well, I mean, it's a learning curve for every dog. But, people, they need to slow down. You see them get excited. You hear them, like I said, that's a new dog over about 500 yards away, because I can hear the guy, settle down, just take your time and just enjoy, things going crazy. Here's the thing. I can't make it. Chris Scott. I don't know if y'all know him. He's a pro trainer, not Chris Aiken, but we're all in the same circle. I can remember Chris Scott saying about, it's at least 20 years ago. And, walking off the line, he looks at me after a horrible doggone season, just eating him up, all kinds of stupid stuff going on. And comes, he said, there's one thing I've already learned about this right here. If you're running a dog or hunting a dog or anything, you better have a sense of humor. You got to look at everything with a big grin and just laugh at it. He said, because if not, it'll eat you up. And so many people are that way. They let things get to them and they get a little bit excited and stuff. Just settle down, grin at it, and just have a sense of humor about all of it, especially those things that make you want to pull your hair out anyway. So.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I
guess that kind of goes for life anyway. So
that's a good point. Was it Rex Carr who said a man's ego is a tough burden for a dog?
Ooh, I'm telling you, 100%. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yeah. So I mean, that's something for everybody to remember. And we've had a bunch of dogs. You've had a bunch of dogs, and just at any given moment, they're going to humble you. And early, my first dog, that stuff would make me insane. Kevin would attest to it. Like, you'd be like, this son of a bee. And it would really ruin my morning.
And, eat on your ego, wouldn't it? It's like, think about it all day long. Man,
all day long. And my dad one time said, we're supposed to be out here having fun, and you're not making it fun for any of us. And I won't forget that, it's just not worth it.
That's it.
Won't ever forget it. So that's cool. Well, one of the things that we want to really dive into on this episode, with your extensive background in smoking ducks in Arkansas and all over the country, is the duck dog. Is the dog that, from their first hunt where they grab decoys or swim past the duck or can't get outside the decoys, all these things that all these people are going to run into. What are the qualities of a great duck dog, and how do we try and prepare them as best we can in training?
Well, I mean, matter of fact, I think it was just 2 days ago, I did a post on my Facebook page explaining to everybody while I'm running a dog that, hey, listen, you got to get out there and train like you hunt and hunt like you train. Mm-hmm. So you got to do it all. The duck calls, and this is after, and matter of fact, that's the post that guy posted back. I remember Thief grabbing this pumper. Well, anyway, so you've got to train like you hunt. That's all there is to it. You've got to, if you have your private blind, why haven't you had that dog in that private blind months before season, even when it's dry, throwing some some simple marks. Have a bird boy throw you 2 or 3 marks. Get that dog used to going up and down, whatever, however it's coming in or entry and exits and stuff. Teach them all the no's and the goods and the do's and don'ts and that sort of thing, and really enter those things. Same thing, people boat hunt. Dock that boat right up against the shore, make it real nice and stable, and teach them where they're going to exit, how they're going to enter, how they're going to come up. A lot of folks don't know that you just put your hand on the back of a dog's head as they're swimming up to jump on a stand or get up on the boat, and you just put your hand on the back of the head. They will pry their front legs up and just push it back against you, and you just lift them up. They more or less do it themselves. So you got to teach, but that's a movement that you got to teach dogs. They'll learn it. So you got to teach them that. All those things. You don't want to be that guy at the boat ramp. And I know we've all heard them hollering, Rover, here, and all that kind of mess. And you look over and you got somebody else's dog in your boat with your dog that could be a little, and I mean, it's craziness. And I've been pulling up to launches and have a dang black lab that you can barely see go running across in front of my truck,
Yeah.
I mean, those sorts of things. And so you've got to, all those different places, you've got to teach your dog, the correct way to behave, the correct behavior, the weight in the truck. I would never leave my dog in a boat or anything like that. I learned a lesson a long time ago about that. So if I'm doing anything, that son of a gun's going to be locked in. Always carry another extra tether, double lock, and have a spot in your boat in the middle where they can't hang themselves, where you can always lock them if you've got to do anything. Same thing with, don't launch I see so many people launch their dadgum boat with the dog in it, and they run back up their truck. And Fido comes chasing them, and I mean, and you do that stuff at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning in Arkansas, you're talking about 100 dang trucks. You're talking about all kinds of idiotic dogs out there. I mean, there's some craziness going on. So you got to, all those kinds of things, you got to acclimate all the way down to the hunting, the calling, the extra. You need to do some extra shooting. You need to have bubba gunners out there doing stuff. You need to train with birds. People, my dog won't pick up ducks. Well, you've been following programs and stuff, and you haven't thrown your dog a duck yet. You've got to get your dog some ducks. Folks that's going out there, they wonder why their first hunt trying to pick up a Canada goose for the first time. How many times have I heard that?
Oh, I know it.
We were just talking about this the other day.
There you go, because season just started up north. My dog won't pick up a Canada goose. Well, hell, I don't want to pick up no dang Canada goose, and I picked up 1,000 of them. And I mean, so how can you ask a 55, 65 pound dog to go pick up a 10, 12 pound goose like that? That's never, ever done. It's going to be completely out of their game. And I mean, I sold a bad mammy jammer of a dog to Mitch Hughes up in Canada about 7 years ago. And his first hunt, I told him, do not cast that dang dog for a live Canada goose. Let him get used to it. He's picked up geese and stuff, but let him get used to it. He called. I seen him. He didn't like it. And he come running back. And he said, I can't get him to pick up a goose. I said, I ate into him. So anyway, Mitch Hughes, 3-time world. Yeah, I'm going to eat him up too. It's Mitch Hughes, 3-time world champion goose caller, 3-time world champion live duck caller up there in Canadian Prairie Outfitters. Anyway, so he calls me and tells me, I said, all right, just throw him. Don't just completely ignore it. Take him duck hunting and stuff. And, of course the dog was all right, but you got to be sensible about these things. I mean, you can't take a 6-year-old kid and go throw, a football at him and expect him to catch it, if it's thrown by Peyton Manning. That's all there is to it. So anyway,
I think you really hit on something interesting that I feel like we have conversations about all the time with clients and things like that, is like, you got to acclimate the dog. And it's not fair to have expectations for something they've never done, or something they haven't done in a year, or something they've done twice, but not at 5 o'clock in the morning when they can't see as well, when there's ducks flying and 5 people in the boat and 4 guns going off. And you know what I'm saying? It's
100%.
It's unfair. You can't set unfair expectations, but your word acclimate was a great, it's what people should do.
Well, that's just it. I mean, and like you were saying, even it is such a shell shock to those dogs to pull up to a boat ramp at 3 o'clock in the morning and all those lights, they can't tell. And there's just all these sights and sounds and people hollering back and forth, back up over here. Hey, Randy, what's going on? You know, and your dog's out there, it's jacked up. It's like, what in the world? You know,
Exactly.
and I mean, there's other dogs running around and boats are taking off. You hear mud motors everywhere. And the only way you're going to get a dog used to that is to take them to the lake, you know, 4th of July and several different times, let them ride in the boat, let them at least get some iota of that sense. Because I'm telling you, a lot of stuff like that, one bad experience will last a dog a lifetime. Yeah. That's all there is to it. One bad experience will last a dog a lifetime. So you have to be extremely careful that you must be extremely careful that you do everything you can to make sure that every experience is as positive as it can be and that dog understands everything that's going on out there. And, you know, you don't throw your dog and take you. I can tell you horror stories. You don't take your dog to a big blind that's never hunted in a big blind with 12 guns and put him underneath down there on that low hole, and a group of 10 teal come in and there's 12 gunners in there. And you look down there and Fido is running back to the truck. And I mean, something like that. I mean, I can tell you horror stories. I know y'all can too. You know, you just don't do that to dogs. You don't do that in pits. You got to slowly introduce and acclimate them to everything. And you do it with multiple gunners. You do it with Bubba gunners. You do it by getting them out in new places. And you be wise. You got to think about your dog. I know everybody wants to hunt their dog. I know everybody wants to take their dog. Everybody wants to, and you got to be wise about the situation you're fixing to put your dog in, and don't let your ego, as we were talking about earlier, put your dog in places and in spots that's going to be detrimental to your long-term, let's say, hunting companionship time. So it's just because bad things will happen. I've seen it too many times.
So that's one of the things that is so hard for folks that send their dogs off to guys like me and you. I paid for how long is your basic gun dog program?
Well, I mean, I try to tell everybody I need that dog 6 months. I need that dog 6 months. You know, cool. and that's it. I mean, it's
so now they've spent 6 months worth of money, or like, you know, I do the same thing, but then I've got long-term dogs, right? It's a master. I had one that had a master national plate and just hadn't had real hunting experience, right?
Yeah.
And then it gets put into a predicament because it's a master national dog or a senior hunter or whatever the case may be. I don't care what it is, but they think just because it's been trained to that high level, a real deal hunt is different. And until that dog, I call it a light bulb moment, until that dog has a light bulb moment where they're watching the sky, they've figured it out that 2 and 2 are the same. Training gave me this bag of tricks and tools in the tool belt, and now we put it into real life scenario. Until that light bulb goes off, you got to really make them be successful and put them in a place to be successful instead of hope it goes great. Because
exactly, you know, what you're talking, prime example. All right, a lot of folks don't know this, but you know, I was the main camera guy for the Water Dog TV. I was the main camera guy for the Super Retriever series. Blah blah blah. Well, I can remember a long time ago, Water Dog. We're shooting the deal. We got there's several. Derek Randall was there. Danny Farmer, Al Author. We had several big pros there, but we're out there doing a duck hunt at Christian Curtis's place up there in southeast the Boot Hill, Missouri. So we're up there at Christian and that gun I done the guy that can sing so good, Pure Duck Calls. Good buddy of mine. I'm bad about that. My age, I'm losing my memory on that. I remember dog names though. But anyway, we're out there, and here's Danny Farmer with a client's dog, AFC dog, right? And I'm out there with Teal, and she's just barely got her masters and stuff, and she's just blowing his dog up. And he's like, she won't even look at these, you know, couldn't even get his dog to look at the marks, look at the birds coming in and stuff. And that's a prime example. that dog will absolutely, you can throw a mark today and come back next week and the dog will remember where it's at. Teal, she was an idiot. But anyway, so it's just a different one was hunt savvy. The other one is not. And you've got to make your dog hunt savvy. And just because they have these plates, they have these ribbons, they have this and that, doesn't mean they're hunt savvy. It takes a full season. That's if you're hunting 20 to 25 days. And until they get 30 days of, let's say, halfway decent hunts, where the majority of them you may kill 5 to 8 ducks, they're not going to be top level, or they're not going to be acclimated to what being hunt savvy. I'm kind of searching for words.
Let's talk about that hunt savvy. No, I think that's great. Let's talk about hunt savvy, because that's part of this episode I'd really like to talk about and dive deeper into is how does one become hunt savvy as a dog, and us as trainers and owners put them in a position to be hunt savvy, like A, in training, and then B, their first duck season.
Well, I mean, it's pretty much both of those, but it takes a lot of hunting where you're trying to control. You've got to stay on top of your dog no matter what, and make sure no bad habits develop and stuff. But you're also, the more that you can have them sit back and watch and just not be crazy, the more they're going to learn. So soak it in as much as possible. I did a dove hunt with a very young pup this past year. I sat way back. I let her watch everything. And all the gunners were out there and she was watching, and I only let her pick up these certain birds. So when we finished that first dove hunt ever, she had a pretty good idea and became hunt savvy to that situation. All right. So Larry McMurray, I don't know if y'all know who he is. He's one of our field reps. He's also pretty big in HRC and stuff. He said it to me like this one time, and it made sense. He said, every time you take that dog out and you do something, it's just like you taking photos. You're building this big picture book and video book of this and that. And that dog, it's just like we're teaching these dogs all these looks. It's the same thing with the hunts. Every little thing. This time we hunted this way. We were out of a boat. We were hunting out of skiff. We were hunting in a layout. Everything just kind of comes. But with that, the whole time, if you say that you're having an issue with something, you train on it. You just teach on it. You teach, and you repeat, and then you test on it when you go hunting, that sort of thing. So each one of those different things builds up to a hunt savvy dog, and a dog that can hunt out of a blind, that can hunt out of a pit blind, that can hunt out of, beside you on a box, one that can lay down on the ground, you cover them with a piece of burlap, hunt from a stand, sit back 40 yards, and from the hole, and you cast them and that sort of thing. All those things, and you can't do that in one season. A true hunt savvy dog, by the time it's getting time to retire them, my gosh, they're finally there, and that's what sucks.
Yeah.
I like what you said. Hang on, but I got to get this thought out of my head because I love it. I like what you said with the dog needed to sit back and watch. And so that's what you did with a dog. And then when it was a great bird, like a perfect situation, that's when you would let the dog go pick up that bird, and you created like the whole, you held the marionette strings for the whole situation, and you put that dog into that situation so that it was what the dog needed. Right. Rather than, I feel like a lot of times, you get the dog, people get a dog and they to go hunting and be retrieving for you. Right.
Exactly.
But the dog isn't ready for that. Right.
No.
Like the dog's not ready to do that for you. You need to figure out and like be working for the dog. What does a dog need? Never really thought about it that way before.
Well, I mean, that's just it. You know, the hunt savvy dogs turn into working dogs. First, you've got to be working for the dog. That's all there is to it. And you have to, a lot of times you have to lay your gun down. You have to, not even take a gun. You have to watch your buddies. You have to stay on your buddies' butts about stuff. You know, hey, don't do this, don't do that. When I cast my dog, everybody shut up. If I blow a whistle, quit moving over. You know, those kinds of things. You got to stay on them. But you're going to be, you have to hunt for your dog. You have to make sure that everything is 100% positive. Start with the smallest group as you can. And I mean, just give it time. Don't rush into it. And it ain't about you. It's about the dog. 100%. It's just like you were trying to say. It's all about those first several hunts are all about the dog. Just making sure that everything is as positive as possible. Because I mean, I promise you, one bad experience, dog, you're hauling butt down. Let's say doing that 4 a.m. race, and you got the daggum dog in your boat, and that son of a gun falls out of the boat or something. You'd be hell getting that dog back in the boat ever again early in the morning. I mean, it's all there is to it.
Yeah,
and I've seen it. I've seen dogs get run over too by boats. So,
oh, God. Let's talk about overhandling. I feel like there's a, how do I want to say it? Like my first dog, he pheasant hunted with me. He did every kind of hunting you could imagine that I could hunt with a dog. And I made him, he still to this day is the best hunting dog I've owned. He wasn't the best hunt test dog. He probably would have been now a great one. But back then, I mean, I made him do a lot of different like hunt 'em ups and hiding birds in places he didn't want to go. I did stupid stuff. I'll kind of tell this funny story. We pheasant hunt pen raised birds here in New York. New York releases pheasants and you can go hunt them on state land. And I, in essence, forced him to get into hedgerows. Every time he'd pop out,
back in there,
burn and get back in. He'd get back in, pressure turn off. He'd stay in there. Stupid, yes, but that son of a bee, it worked.
And he attacked every piece of cover there was
without hesitation. And then what ended up happening, just by dumb luck from the pheasant gods, is after I got done burning him to get back in the hedgerow, he flushed one out and got rewarded. So now he loved going in the hedgerows.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend that to anybody, but those are some of the things. Like I did things with him that I wouldn't do now, or in order to have a really great blind running dog for master tests and field trials and whatnot, I don't want them putting their nose on the ground. I want them holding a line. And that has put some of my hunting, like as I transitioned them to hunting dogs, they rely on me a little too much. They hold that line a little too much. They don't want to get into the cattails and dig out that bird as far in as some of them swim and go. And I think that there's a happy medium between overhandling and building that hunt savvy and building that grit that Buck had, you know, swimming across icy flow rivers and making him go
That's it.
across the stupid river to find a merganser. You know, he ended up doing it, and then it turned out he ended up being amazing. But I guess my thought is that hunt savvy versus hunt test, and trying to wave that line, just thread that needle between the two. How are you trying to manage that?
Well, here's okay. I've got my last hunt test in 2 weeks. All right. So everything I've been doing is hunt test training. I'm shortened down. Now, don't get me wrong. I do a lot of white coat training. I stretch my dogs out, especially when they're young, really getting them marking short gunners with white and then fighting that long hidden night, that sort of thing. So we're training a lot of that. Then we switch over to the hunt test stuff, and things get tight concepts, and we're throwing our doubles and stuff and doing doubles and driveaways and blah, blah, blah. Here in about 2 weeks, I'm going to run my last hunt test. All right. The dogs that are staying in, and most of these dogs that are hunt test, most of them have got a hunt season. So I'm not too worried about them. Mm-hmm. Now, the young ones, what I'm fixing to do is we're going to throw one mark. Boom. You got to find that. I mean, you're going to have to get in there. You're going to have to dig that mark out. It's going to be in some high grass, thick lily pad, encrusted crap. and you're just going to, we may have to throw Mark in there 2 or 3 times for a young dog to come out of there. And it's going to be 75 to 150 yards. It's going to be, in some nasty stuff. Then we're going to run 3 blinds. We're going to run 3 blinds. People's like, why did you do that? And I said, well, look at it this way. When we go hunting and we're sitting there and we call in ducks, blah, blah, blah. There's usually 5 to 7 of us hunting. A group that comes in, we kill anywhere from, let's say, 4 to 14, 15 ducks out of one group. That dog will only mark the very last bird to hit the water. I don't give a dang how good of a marking dog you got. He's only going to mark the very last damn duck that hits the water. That's it. Now, he might see one splashing over here. He might see one splashing over there. You got your cripple right here. And you have to be able, if you got a cripple, you have to be able to turn that dog from that last dead bird, good, back. And that son of a gun run a laser beam and put him on. All right. Then he comes back and all those other little flopping ones, they'll pick out. Boom. You cast them straight there, straight there, straight there. So the rest of the time you're running blinds and you got to be able to line that dog up. Boom. They run straight as they can and then come back. Straight as they can, come back. Straight as they can, come back. Quick and fast. And then that one cripple, though, that the one guy shot, maybe the dog watched it last because that's usually the one that they catch, falls over in there. You can cast that dog and let him go. He'll run through all that mess. Boom. Drive out there and pick that one bird up, root it out, and then come on back. But I will always warn people, in a lot of situations, I hate a public ground, and even on some private ground, I hate to cast a dog that's somewhere I can't get to and I can't see them, because, we've had to chase dogs down, find them 3 to 5 hours later, that sort of thing. There's buck. A lot of people we got a hole with Rusty Creasy. I'm sure y'all know. It's called Lost Buck Hole. Well, by gosh, we killed a bunch of ducks coming in. Boom, 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 boom. There's that cripple. Man, we ain't seen it. I couldn't get him to stop with no kind of pressure. He's like, nope, boss, I'm gone. So, and we finished. Rusty got in the boat, took off. He said, you stay here, finish filming this. I'm going to go, I'll find him somewhere. Well, about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, he found him. He's about 1.25 miles up on the levee. So,
Did he have the ducks?
Yeah. Well, no, he didn't have the dang it. That would have been a great end of that story, but no, he did not have no dang ducks. So, but like Rusty said, he was damn glad to see me. He jumped right in that boat. So, that's awesome. Stuff like that happens. So you got to be sensible when you're hunting and stuff. But back to it. Does that make sense what I say about those laser beam dogs? We hunt with so many groups with so many people, and we, not that we're duck killers by any means, but you kill so many ducks in one volley, and your dog has to be able to run straight and straight and straight and straight. And usually dogs like that, we'll have tandem dogs running, and you don't even have to blow a whistle a lot of times if they're 75, 80 yards. You cast them just a little way on the downwind side, back, boom, let them carry that line. And they'll be driving, all of a sudden, boom, they smell it, go straight to it. And the same thing with this dog over here. You just cast them back, boom, and the same thing. As long as they're laser beamers, they learn that, and they learn to just keep on driving. And anyway, I'm repeating myself.
No, so. I think that's good. I think that I still ask the question of they've got to have some independence, though, to not laser beam past the scent of the duck. Or, I feel like I'm going to push back on you on this one.
Because, no. I hear, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Like I hunted with a kid in Saskatchewan last year, and that was no laser beam. That was a dog. He'd basically be just hooting and hollering at the top of the hill, and it'd go down and up and down and up and down and up. And then all of a sudden do a 400-yard snow goose retrieve. And he's running one way and running another way and casting and yelling. And this son of a gun just basically barely listened and just and went and got it. And it could clean up the entire spread like that. And it was just it was impressive because it had so much hunt savvy. It had so much giddy up and go that it just happened to do it all. And then if I were to do that with one of my dogs, that can run a 400-yard blind, then you put them in a real hunting scenario and that 400-yard blind starts looking like doo-doo, or
Yeah,
they don't have enough independence to break down. And I think that there's just this happy medium that I have yet to find since Buck, I guess. And even then I wouldn't say it's a happy medium because he never reached his full potential in a hunt test world. But I don't know. I've never hunted the green timber. So it makes sense that you need a little bit more of that laser beam. And if they take that,
and I'm
line
talking
with
about water versus you talking about land. Now, land, I could see you want a dog that clean one up. Dingy, the dog I was talking about, Canada, that's exactly what he would do. Mitch couldn't handle that. Dog was master dog, and he couldn't handle that dog past 200 yards. Well, anyway, and when he was capable of running fast, but he'd just cast that dog, and man, he'd make one swing downwind, pick one up, then he'd make another one, go out a little further, boom, and he'd just sit there and clean and field up. And you're talking about, knocking down anywhere from 8 to 20 Canadas in one little old pass. And the same thing with ducks. But you're right, 100%. Those dogs there to train for that. The only way you're going to train for that is have you 7 different wingers go off at the same time and just cast your dog on each one and let them figure out how to work that wind. Let them, okay, I know I'll pick this duck up and watching other dogs pick up birds. And then it's okay, I know that one's been picked up. I need to go over here, that kind of thing. And that's all comes back to hunt savvy. And the only way you're going to train for that is to be able to throw multiple birds and have them coming in at every different direction. And that's the only way I'd know to do it. Enlighten me, please.
No, yeah, I'm with you. I think it's just that common question that I always come up with is just like, I don't have a great answer other than they have to have a little bit of balance of independence. And then when I do need to step in, they come back and work with me.
Yeah.
What is your, me and you go on a duck hunt. We knock down 3-4 birds and he didn't see, like, I guess what I don't know how to answer this or ask this, but the thought would be overhandling in the duck blind, where you make them a robot like we do in training versus kick them loose and let them hunt and try and dig it out before you handle. How do you kind of play that game?
Well, there's kind of it's kind of a 50-50 deal. All right. If the birds are working good, you got to make up your mind. Okay, we're going to pick up this bird. Another group's going to come in. How many ducks are going to leave out in the water before the next duck comes? That sort of thing. Yeah. So in a lot of that, you're going to, if you need to pick up 4 or 5 real fast, you're going to have to do some handling. No, let's pick this one up or pick this one and then work your way out. And I hate doing that with a lot of dogs because, you do cause popping issues and they get to where they won't hunt and that sort of thing. So you got to be careful about that. And the best way to do that is if you pick up 2 or 3, try them at least, or by handling, at least let them pick up 2 to 3 without handling. And that's about the only way that I know to really combat that, because I've seen a lot of great dogs that you cast them out there and they couldn't mark very good, but the handler can put them right on the birds. But if one went over there past this log and then on that other side, they couldn't do it. I got a video of Teet when she's 2 years old. We're hunting in timber, hunting in a boat. All right. And it's on my Facebook page. Uploaded it. And this video, and Teet's a little 40-pound dog. And and she's hunted quite a bit of stuff. And there's like huge freaking trees down, all in this timber, laying down in this and that and that. We kill a duck, bam, about 3 or 4 come in. We kill 3 of them. Kill one right here, one falls right there, and then one fell way back there. Pow. All right. Well, Pete knew these 2 fell right here, and one of them was quivering, and then one was all the way to the back. She watched it all the way go down. She turned all the way around. And this is about 70 yards through the timber, through all these big trees and stuff. Mm-hmm. She picks up these 2 over here first, and I turn around. Where's your bird? And I cast her. Boom. Now, we were ready to get to her because, trust me, this is a dangerous situation. Swimming water, big logs, sticks and stuff. This gal goes, swims underneath, runs up this log, jumps on another one, jumps past it, hits the water, swims underneath this great big deadfall that's and goes right up under it where there's probably only about 10 inches of clearance, boom, and disappears. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm giving her 30 seconds and
Yeah.
we're leaving. And then Jonathan says, she's got the duck. So here she comes back, running up and down the logs, coming back, jumping. And it's all this is a little bitty dog. And this is all she can do. That's a hunt savvy dog.
Mm-hmm.
That's a dog that the other two I handled to real quick. But when we turned around, Mark, where's your bird? Boom, she took off. So if I was to handle her on 4 or 5 marks, say for 5 or 6 days, she wouldn't be able to mark like that. She wouldn't. I honestly think, well, it's how many times have you clients say, man, my dog's marking falling off? Well, you're running too many blinds.
Yeah.
That's just all there is to it. You're running too many blinds. Oh, okay. My blinds are sucking right now. Well, you're running too many marks. So there's a happy medium there. But the reason for that story is later I could see, because we hunted in a bigger piece of water and I was handling, her marking did fall off when we went back to the timber. She didn't challenge that stuff as much. It looked for a little bit more help. And we had to, once training season come back around, we had to get her marking abilities back and that sort of, because it's hard to do in the woods. It really is hard to train while you're out there actually hunting.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Boy, I feel like I'm rambling here.
No, you're doing great. I agree. I just think it's, you're not rambling. What you're doing is pulling from your life experience out in the woods and bringing it to everybody's attention. And
well, that's what I'm trying to do. Where I see all my mistakes. Golly, man, they're all over.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think it's just one of those things too. Like if that dog didn't have enough hunting experience, she probably wouldn't have dug that bird out. There's no way she'd be clambering over logs and going underneath a log. Dogs want the path of least resistance, and it sounds like she really didn't take the path of least resistance.
No, it was horrible.
Right.
It was scary, in other words. But
yeah, and I think that there's something to be said about each duck that they get is a life experience. Every chance that they get to get a mark on a real hunt, like you were talking about, whoever told you about the pictures, and they're this reel throughout their life of, I've been here before. The duck could be up underneath this root. Let me sniff it out. Oh, I smell a duck. Now I've got the guts to go down and dig it out. So that's another piece of advice I would give someone. I'll take your advice here after I say it. But on a first year hunt with dogs, I do my best not to hunt them with another dog. Because,
oh, man, you ain't kidding. Boy, you want to talk about some bad habits getting started? Woo! I'm talking about quick.
Yeah. Quick. I mean, you could get noise because they're pissed off, they're not going, and they're competitive. Let's say we kill 6 ducks. Well, you get 3 and I get 3. Now I only got 3 life experiences for that little dog, where you could have had double that. So I think every dog that gets out and gets to get birds, the more they get, the better they get.
Well, that's all there is to it. Yep, 100%.
And I don't know. I mean, you guys do get a lot more than we do. I mean, I've got a log for Memphis, and on her best year, she was just under 100 ducks in a season. We're hunting other client dogs. We're hunting with Kevin's dog. We're hunting with this dog. And then the hunts that she got to go on, she picked up almost 100. That's her best season.
Right.
Mind
and
you,
it's tough. It's tough to make a dog savvy. Picking up
only 100 birds in a season.
Ducks. So
yeah, you could get 100 in a week for that dog. Realistically,
sometimes. I don't want to say too much.
but you get my point. I mean,
no, I do 100%. I mean, that's all there is to it. And I mean, a lot of times we're really. Usually by the end of the season, most of our dogs are pretty doggone strong to our type of hunting, with about 4 to 5 different facets of changes from big blinds. We don't hunt any pits, but big blinds, different types of cover, as far as woods versus impoundments with big broken logs and stuff like that, and then a lot of willow breaks. So those kind of things they're going to really excel in. And then we could go to a wide open pit field, and they could look like blooming idiots just because they ain't got nothing to mark off of. So a dog that's hunted a pit all the time, they say a duck fall out there at 300 yards. and then they see one right here. If they happen to get enough time variance, boom, they pick this one up. Most of them, they don't need anything to background to mark that duck on. They've done it enough that they don't need that hide out there, you know, that sort of thing. They mark, okay, I need to run through these decoys right straight there, and they just keep going and they keep going. They might feather a little bit downwind, boom, they come back. That's a hunt savvy dog, and until my dogs have done it several times, they're going to look like idiots versus that dogs.
Yeah, I think the point you just said, your dogs are going to look like idiots after picking up hundreds and hundreds in the scenarios that they understand. And then you go to a new scenario, they may not look good until they figure that out. All that, and that's 100%. That life experience I'm talking about. It's so imperative to be patient with them and put them in those situations that are controlled and successful for them to be well-rounded. I mean, that's the thing of the game. And in our training,
savvy dogs.
Yeah, in our training, I mean, we try to do our best to make them well-rounded.
Well, you can only do so much.
You can only do so much. So then it's the owner's onus to help them be successful.
Yeah, there it is. And if somebody said, okay, Fred, I need nothing but this dog to do this right here, I say, listen, I know some actual gun dog trainers that you might be a little bit better off to get them to. And to tell you the truth, I mean, if I was a gun dog trainer and I didn't worry about hunt tests and stuff, then I probably would have me 7 or 8 wingers going off at the same time, and just and it'd be almost like a free for all training. And those dogs, I mean, hell, I kind of like the sound of it. I might even change my gear.
Talking yourself into a new business decision here.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, think about it. You know, you go out there, you got one pond.
It's just different.
Well, that's it. You said, let's say you got 70 dozen decoys right here, Magnum mallards, and over here a bunch of snows and this and that, and you just moved your stuff around and you just had your stuff throwing from every different direction, and it was just kind of a free-for-all hunting. And let's say it's kind of like the English style, you know, and you just cast them, let them figure it out, let them figure it out. And as long as there's birds out there, they're always successful coming back. So you just got to teach them control at the line, and then let's run one nice blind. Yeah. You know,
do you do anything with like a hunt 'em up style where, you know, they aren't handling well enough, and you teach them to use that nose? You'd mentioned throwing marks into really tall cover or nasty lily pads or whatever the case may be. Is there anything that you do to try and ignite the nose versus leaning on me for handling?
No, not really. I find that I'm a stickler about teaching them to use them eyes, and let's drive straight there. So we do a lot with puppies, we do a lot of open field marks where they can run straight there. And then over time, I let them learn to use their nose. They learn it on their own. And then we start throwing stuff in the cover, and they start to learn to root birds out. They start learning to hunt and don't go behind the gunner. Stay in this area right here. Expand out toward the wind side. And they learn those things. Drive long and hunt back. And then I find that dogs that do that tend to mark better than teaching them too early to use their nose, because to me, they start relying on their nose too much, and they start this. If you get in an area where there's a lot of bird scent short, I mean, they ain't going to go past it. I mean, that's all there is to it. And I mean, we do some hunting. A lot of places, a dog, if he relies on his nose too much, it looks like a freaking pillow fight out there. I mean, it is solid freaking feathers of just desecrated ducks that's for 60, 70 yards, just out there all over the water. And those dogs, they have to trust what they saw to get past all of that, just to get to, okay, all right, now I smell a duck. That's a duck. And then keep on going. And if you do, for me, if I do too much stuff where they rely on their nose, they'll just make circles in the decoys, if that makes sense.
No, it makes complete sense. I do the exact same thing, but it makes me think like if we tried to click that hunt savviness into them as they're finishing their duck dog school, like I do a 4-month program, but have actually been thinking about saying it's 6 months no matter what. But I think that, you know, you're doing your first 3 months is all teaching and stretching them out. And we're building duck dogs that can go 150, 200 yards confidently. They mark good, they're rolling. Then you bring it all in to maintain that steadiness, because it's a lot easier to be steady on a 150 and 200 yard bird than it is on a 20 yard bird thrown in their face.
And breaking birds.
Exactly. And then we do at that last piece, that last couple weeks, that's when I build in that hunt them up style where you're quartering a field a little bit, you're casting them into the brush and trying to get them to dig out the nasty ones, just to give them that leg up when the bird, that cripple, that alligator, you know, wood duck that's just head down, cruising into the dingweeds. They marked that bird, but then it swam 20 yards and they've got to figure out how to root that sucker.
Oh yeah, no, they'll learn to trail a duck on the water too. They can smell it, duck on the water. People don't know that, but they can. But no, you're right. And in all honesty, I probably should do more training like that. And it goes back to that thing we was talking about a while ago, that multiple birds coming straight in from different gunners, boom, throw them at you, and then you just kind of pick them up, and then you have this one over here. It'd be a great idea to teach your dog, you know, hey, walk over here and hunt it up, you know, and walk in there and teach them to root it out. And then, you know, possibly have somebody drag a duck on a string or something like that and make them learn to trail. Well, I mean, what is that? CA, there's a club here. They actually have trailing is one part of the aspect of the retriever. What is it? It's
NARA.
NARA, that's it. Yeah. They've got to be able to track. So and I've got good friends that used to. Well, Derek Randall and Keith Allison used to do that all the time, but I never ran it. So they evidently had to teach their dogs to track. So they're well ahead of me then.
I don't know about well ahead, but I think it's just one of those skill sets that I need them to have. I need or want them to have a little bit of that in them, because even a dog that runs a blind, me and you don't know everywhere it went. You know, if it alligatored into the dingweeds, I can handle them to the fall area where I think it's going to be, and then it's 50 yards away. That's when they've got to. That's the hard part that I'm trying to hit home here for everybody.
Oh yeah, no, and it is, and that comes to hunts. Yeah. You know, it comes to that hunt savvy stuff. And I think, it really does. If I was going to really train it, I guess what I'd do is I'd take a live duck and I'd hackle its wings and I'd throw it in the cover right over here where I knew, you know, is a pretty good, let's say, half of an acre of growth grass with mowed stuff around it, to where I could cast them in there and let them root that live duck up that's, you know, got hackled wings. So something like that, would be good. Cast them in there and let them hunt it up. And then, I'll
tell one cool story real quick. I just made me think of what you just said. So my young bird boys that work for me, we were shooting flyers the other day, and this sucker hooked back behind him, and it wasn't safe for him to shoot. So I appreciate his gun safety.
Man,
it lands. Yeah, seriously, because.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He lets it fly away. It lands, and it landed on the neighbor's property, and it's probably 6 foot tall, goldenrod, nasty stuff. And we see it bop down and run into the thing. So I'm like, Prairie's the one that couldn't find the duck in the decoys belly up with the band. I go, let her out. She came up, she tracked that sucker and was gone for probably a minute and a half. And you could just see the
top's moving.
Yeah, the top's moving, and she's just, sounds like a dang pig in there.
Snorting it all up.
She came out 60 yards the opposite direction of where that duck went in, and out with the duck. I'm like, dang, girl. Like, that's better than marking a duck at 120 yards, because we never would have found that $17.50 flyer. And here it is.
Right.
That's it.
That's economics. Prairie.
Yeah,
she knows the deal.
Dude, so I just think and that's from 3 years of hunting.
It is. It's being a hunt savvy dog, that's 100%. And it's like you said, those dogs that And there's an old boy here hunts on the Cache River. Everybody's heard about the Cache River, Arkansas. He's a younger guy, about 35, 40 years old. And I say that because I'm so old. But anyway, and he's got this big old freaking chocolate dog. And this son of a gun, most people would think, man, he's hard headed and this and that and that. Because I mean, he's 100 pounds. But this is the freaking huntingest mule of a dog. And he's just everything. It's just like you were saying, talking about that dog earlier. And, I mean, it's like he was like a robot that actually freaking hunted so nicely. And the way you just cast him, you never knew he's back. He'd stay back about 40 yards. And he'd holler his name, boosh, boosh, boosh. He'd go by you. He'd pick it up. And if you didn't call him to you, he'd go and get back on the stand. So you had to call him to you. Where's your bird? Or line him back up. And he'd cast him again. And this dog never had a title, had nothing, but could hold his own against any of my dogs out there, and it was all just because the way the hunting the same thing day after day after day, hunting the same river and the channel and the moving water. I mean, he'd see a duck go down right there, and he knew damn well for him to catch it, he was going to have to go right here.
Yeah.
Because the water would carry it down. So he'd watch it and he'd instantly go right past you. Why is he going? Well, he's going to catch that duck when he gets right there. I mean, that's a dog that knows. And instead of trying to fight the river back up, he'd go to the bank and then run straight up. And he'd come in from the backside again and then go back, depending on which side of the river you sign on. But anyway.
That's so cool.
And I mean, and it's awesome that, a lot of people can't give you can't give those dogs enough credit. And because people don't ever see them unless you ever hunt with them. And I mean, they're top of the line. I don't care how many ribbons my dogs have got and stuff. That's your end goal anyway.
That's right.
That's it. I mean, that dog right there ranks as high to me as any of my dogs as far as their capabilities. Maybe not in my heart, that sort of thing. But
yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, I think it's just the good old blue collar, hard work, and a person who goes out and hunts. It makes me want to hunt harder, to put my dogs in positions of success and gain more of those life experiences in the duck boat, in the duck blind, in the marsh, in the beaver pond, whatever. Every chance I get to get them on a bird is going to make them a better dog year after year. And by the time they're badass, they're retiring.
That's it. And then that also goes to the same, there's a couple of sayings I'd like to say. And one of them is nothing will make a great hunt bad like a bad dog. And then the vice versa. A lackluster hunt will be awesome with a great dog. That's just all there is to it. And those things, that being said, we as duck hunters, I try to tell people this, unless you duck hunted, you can't understand it. And y'all duck hunted, of course. We're always looking for that look. It's those feet dropping down, coming across top of the timber. It's that bank that they make. We're always certain. We've seen it once in our lifetime. We want to repeat it. And once it happens again, you got to get more of it. We just had 30 just come in there beautiful and stuff, and you'd think you'd get fulfilled with it, but you don't. Well, the same thing happens with our dogs. Every time. That's, I can remember Teal's last retrieve. I can remember Thief's last retrieve. And I did and I could see Thief. And I thought, man, this is his last year. I can tell. And at the end of this past duck season, I did a deal with him, and every one of those retrieves, they mean so much to us that we want to see it again. We want our next dog that we have coming up. I got some puppies right now that I can't wait. Teach still up. Of course, I want to watch her make much more, but I want to relive those memories again. And it's the same thing with our duck hunting. That's why we're so enticed to it. We want to see that. We want to experience that with our buddies over here. We want to experience that with our dogs, because those people we duck hunt with, we surround ourselves with, they can truly appreciate what we're seeing, what we're taking in, what we're feeling, the emotions of it all. Mm-hmm. And then the pride, I hate to use that word, the pride, the ego of our dogs loving to hunt. You turn back, you look at them, and they're watching that duck circling around you, and you just sit there. You know what? I'm just going to watch my dog. And until you've done that, duck circling in the timber, you have not lived as your dog, and you need to.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Freddie, man, I can't say thank you enough for joining us. I know that it's been a tough couple rescheduling weeks in, weeks out, but I appreciate you joining us. Do me a favor. One of the things that I want to give you a shout out for is the amount of help you've given our community over the years.
Well, that's all of us. I mean, y'all do the same thing. Y'all doing so much for people, and that's what it's about. I mean, 100%.
Yeah, it is, because we're just want everybody to have the same experiences that we have with our dogs, and these dogs have a lifetime stories that come in mean the world to me, and I think it's so cool that we'll probably keep doing it for a long time. But do me a favor, tell people where they can join your community and what it's all about, so that you're an asset to them as well if they aren't already a member.
Well, I mean, of course, the Retriever Trainer, www.theretrievertrainer.com. Over 1,800 videos, starts from 5-week-old puppy, take you all the way to Derby, Qual, open training, however far you want to go, meat dog series, whatever. But anyway, and it's all there. And plus, I'm there to help you all the way through the program, 100%. But I mean, it's the same thing. Y'all do a great job on presenting yourselves. I really like the stuff y'all do. Really do.
Thank you very much. Well, we appreciate it, but you've been a pioneer for it for years and years and years, and all that information you've provided for people has really helped make a lot of great duck dogs for them and competitors. So thank you for all that. Where can they find you on social media?
Oh, just look for this big red. Well, gray now. Used to be red. This big red head, Freddy King.
You said it. I didn't.
But anyway, just go there and hit me up at Echo Calls. I mean, I'm a little bit everywhere, so Drake and them boys too. So just
cool.
Give me a ring. If you need something, just throw me a message. I will message you back. I guarantee it.
Heck yeah. Awesome, Freddy King. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Everybody who tunes in week in and week out, we appreciate you taking time out of your day to be here with us. So thank you so much, everyone. And until the next time, we'll catch you in the next episode.